Hey, what's up everyone? So, Doom Eternal came out in 2020 and absolutely blew our minds, right? The combat loop, the intensity, the speed, it was basically a masterclass in first-person shooter design. And now, we've got Doom: The Dark Ages coming. And let me tell you, this isn't just Doom Eternal, but medieval. No, no, no. id Software is doing something completely different here. And honestly, I'm kind of torn about it. Some of you are going to love this new direction, some of you are going to hate it. And today, we're going to break down exactly what's changed, what stayed the same, and whether this shift is genius or, well, we'll get to that. So grab your shield, charge up your Gauss cannon, and let's rip and tear through this comparison. All right, let's get the big thing out of the way first, the combat philosophy. Doom Eternal was all about movement. You were basically a pinball bouncing around arenas at 1,000,000 miles per hour. Dash here, jump there, swing off a pole, wall climb, double jump. You were never standing still. The game literally punished you for staying in one place. Stop moving, you're dead. Simple as that. And that's what made it brilliant, right? It was this beautiful dance of chaos where you're managing like 17 things at once. Your health, your armor, your ammo for 6 different weapons, your cooldowns, your positioning. It was overwhelming in the best possible way. Now here comes the Dark Ages, and id Software basically said, what if we slow things down? And I can already hear some of you screaming at your screens, but hear me out. This isn't Call of Duty slow. This isn't tactical shooter slow. It's more deliberate, methodical. You've got this massive shield now that's central to everything you do. You can block, you can bash, you can charge with it, and get this, you can even parry demon attacks. Yeah, you heard that right. Doom with parry mechanics. We've officially entered Sekiro territory, folks. The thing is, they're going for this medieval knight power fantasy vibe, and you can't really feel like a tanky, unstoppable crusader when you're bunny hopping around like you're in a Quake tournament, you know? So the movement is heavier, more grounded. You feel the weight of your armor. Let's talk weapons and combat flow, because this is where things get really interesting. In Doom Eternal, you had weapon switching down to a science. You'd hit a Cacodemon with a grenade, switch to the ballista, quick swap to the rocket launcher, back to the super shotgun for a glory kill setup. It was like playing a musical instrument. The combat loop was deal damage, glory kill for health, chainsaw for ammo, flame belts for armor, rinse and repeat at supersonic speed. The Dark Ages, completely different rhythm. First off, that shield I mentioned, it's not just for defense. It's basically a weapon itself. You can bash demons to stagger them, charge through groups like a medieval linebacker, and here's the cool part. When you block an attack at just the right time, you get this crushing counterattack. It's so satisfying. But here's where it gets controversial. The game seems to encourage you to actually stand your ground sometimes. I know. That sounds crazy for a Doom game. But there are these moments where you plant yourself, pop that shield up, and become this immovable object, while demons crash against you like waves. Then you pick your moment and explode outward with violence. They've also added these skull charges, or whatever they're calling them, basically power-ups you get from crushing demons in specific ways. It's still got that resource management aspect, but it feels different. Less frantic, more tactical. The guns themselves, though, oh man, they went hard on the medieval sci-fi aesthetic. You've got this sick flail weapon that's basically a morning star on a chain, the saw blade shield launcher that looks absolutely brutal, and what appears to be a mech suit you can pilot. Yeah, a mech, in Doom. Living in 2025 is wild, y'all. Okay, so this is probably the most divisive change, and I get why people are worried. Doom Eternal's movement was chef's kiss perfect. The dash ability alone changed everything. Double dash in the air, dash into a glory kill, dash to dodge projectiles. Combined with the meat hook on the super shotgun, you were Spider-Man with guns. The skill ceiling was insane, and watching speedrunners play Eternal is genuinely like watching art. The Dark Ages strips a lot of that away. No more double dash in the air, no meat hook swinging across the arena, no monkey bar gymnastics. You're heavier, slower, more grounded, literally. But, and this is important, you're not slow. You've still got good movement speed. There's still going to be platforming sections. And from the gameplay we've seen, you can still maneuver pretty well.
It's just not the same aerial acrobatic show. Instead, they're giving you different tools. That shield charge lets you cover ground fast and crash into enemies. There seems to be some kind of gap-closing mechanic with certain weapons. And honestly, for the medieval setting they're going for, it makes sense. You're not supposed to feel like a future tech ninja anymore. You're a knight. Knights don't do parkour. They bulldoze through the front lines. Will it be as satisfying? Man, that's the million-dollar question. I think it'll be different but good rather than worse, but we won't know until we actually play it. Let's talk about the vibe, because visually, these games are night and day different. Doom Eternal was all sleek, futuristic facilities, UAC bases, chrome and neon, hell corruption spreading through sci-fi environments. Even when you went to literal hell, it had this weird industrial quality to it. The color palette was vibrant, almost cartoony in a way. Lots of greens for armor, blue for health, orange for ammo. It was color-coded chaos and it worked perfectly. The Dark Ages is going full medieval fantasy. We're talking castles, we're talking dragons. Yes, dragons. Medieval kingdoms, cobblestone streets, torch-lit corridors. The aesthetic is way darker, grimmer, more grounded in that dark fantasy vibe. Think Elden Ring meets Doom. And honestly, it looks incredible. The art direction is phenomenal. There's something viscerally cool about seeing demonic invasions against medieval architecture. Gargoyles on castle walls that might actually be gargoyles, you know? The blending of fantasy and horror is really well done. The demons themselves look more organic, less industrial. In Eternal, even the demons felt like they have this techie quality sometimes. Here, they're just pure medieval nightmare fuel. More fangs, more claws, more primal. Weather and environmental effects also look insane. There's this one section in the trailer with a massive storm, lightning everywhere, and you're just wading through hordes in the rain. The atmosphere is thick.
Now, story in Doom games is like, it exists, and some people care about it. Most of us are here to shoot demons. But the setting shift is pretty significant lore-wise. Doom Eternal got deep into the lore, maybe too deep for some people. We learned about the Makers, Urdak, the Khan Maker, Davloth, the whole cosmic horror angle. It was epic in scope, spanning dimensions and eons. By the end, with the DLC, we basically understood the entire creation mythology of the Doom universe. The Dark Ages is a prequel. We're going back to see the Doomslayer's earlier days, which is actually really smart because it lets them reboot the gameplay without invalidating Eternal's story. This is before he became the unstoppable force we know. He's still incredibly powerful, but he's working with medieval-era technology enhanced with Argent energy. The setup is apparently you're defending humanity's last kingdoms against a massive demonic invasion. There's this whole crusade angle, the Sentinel Warriors, the Night Sentinels we heard about in previous games. We're gonna see all that now. What I'm really curious about is whether they'll maintain that environmental storytelling that Doom is so good at, or if they'll lean more into cutscenes and dialogue. Eternal had those hologram codex entries everywhere. Wonder how they'll handle that in a medieval setting. Maybe stone tablets, magical protections? We'll see. All right, the question everyone wants answered. Which one is better? And here's the thing. I don't think they're directly comparable. They're trying to do different things. Doom Eternal is the perfect execution of high-speed, high-skill arena shooter combat. If you want that adrenaline rush, that feeling of barely surviving by the skin of your teeth because you're juggling a dozen systems while flying through the air, Eternal is unbeatable. It's a 10 out of 10 for what it's trying to be. Doom: The Dark Ages is aiming for something else. It's going for that power fantasy of being an unstoppable medieval warrior, standing your ground, crushing demons with brutal efficiency. It's trading some of that frantic speed for deliberate, weighty combat. For some people, that's going to be a downgrade. For others, it might actually be more satisfying. Think of it like this. Eternal is jazz. Complex, fast, improvisational, requires skill to appreciate. Dark Ages is looking more like heavy metal, powerful, deliberate, crushing, all about that impact. Neither is objectively better, they're just different flavors of awesome. Personally,
I'm excited because it's different. If they just made Doom Eternal 2 with the same mechanics and a new coat of paint, that would have been safe but kinda boring. This feels like a genuine creative risk, and I respect the hell out of id Software for trying something new instead of just running the same formula into the ground. Will it work? We'll find out when it launches, but I'm optimistic.